The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to Behind the Law. Great show lined up for you today. Welcome, as always, the beautiful Makaila Nichols. Hello, Makaila. How are you?
Great.
Here's what I want to address today. All right, a lot of you say, I'm gonna sue somebody. I'm gonna do it out of principle. It's something I hear all the time in my office. I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna sue them out of principle. Kind of like Johnny Depp did to Amber Heard. Now Amber Heard doing it back to Johnny Depp with a countersuit. Is it a good idea to waste a lot of money on legal fees out of principle? We will address that today. Also, you hear the differences a lot of times with mediation or arbitration or going to trial. What are the differences in those terms, and is there a better way to go? We will address all of that. Makaila, are you ready?
I am.
Here's what we're going to do. Quick break. When we return, Makaila, and she's excited about this as well,
So
because
excited.
it's
Thrilled.
TMZ oriented. We'll address Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, and should you mediate, arbitrate, or go to trial, as Behind the Law continues. Having debt can leave you feeling helpless. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Filing for bankruptcy may give you the power to lower or even eliminate the payments that have you living paycheck to paycheck. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your life. Does student loan debt have you spinning out of control? You are not helpless. At Attorneys Justin Clark and Associates, our goal is to lower or even eliminate your monthly payments. Call me today or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life. Going to trial and making legal decisions out of principle oftentimes is not the best way to go. Let me tell you, hiring a lawyer can be expensive. Going all the way to trial certainly can be expensive. And I think that's what's going on in this Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. So he's suing her for defamation. There was an article published in the Washington Post, I believe, where she was saying some things. She didn't use his name, but she said some things that a lot of people insinuated or thought she was insinuating him. And I can understand where they would think that. And then she filed a counterclaim against him for $100 million. He sues her for $50 million for defamation. She counterclaims for $100 million for defamation. The one thing that I've seen out of this whole thing is they probably both spent $2 million on legal fees at least. I mean, the lawyers are making out very well in this case. So the lawyers are doing great. But how are the litigants? How is Depp doing, and how is Heard doing? Now, first of all, you grew up acting and modeling and things like that. Are you an Amber Heard fan or no?
No.
No?
No, I'm not. I think she's a great actress.
You're trying to
I'm
not say
talk
something
negative about anyone. No.
So, but you didn't like her before the trial.
I wouldn't. I'm not.
Are you a Johnny Depp fan?
I like the movies that he was in. Yeah.
Okay. So, but now after watching this trial play out here in the public forum, do you find yourself
I just
liking?
think it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. They're spending millions and millions of dollars to basically embarrass themselves. And my prediction on this thing is, Johnny Depp did this out of principle. I think he even said that, oh, my kids think that I was a wife beater or whatever. I'm going to sue her. I'm going to show her out of principle. And clients come in my office all the time, and they want to go to war out of principle. Now, there are certain times in the legal world where it is time to go to war. It's time to fight, especially in criminal.
How do you know when that time is?
You just kind of know. You just kind of know when the time is right. But the time to go to war, or legal war, is not the time when you feel like you want to fight out of principle. That is almost always the wrong decision. And I think that's what's happening here in this trial. And I think what's going to happen, I believe the jury was going to come back and award Johnny Depp like $1. They're going to say, okay, you won and you win $1. Now he's
but why can they do that if they're suing for like what, 50 mil or 100 mil?
Because the jury can do whatever they want. I mean, the jury can say, okay, yeah, we think that Johnny Depp is right, but we're going to award $1, or they could award $50 million. You don't know, but normally in a case like this, you're going to see some sort of a compromise verdict, as we would call, where some jurors are saying, yeah, we need to absolutely drop the axe on her, and then others are going to say, well, he was probably right, but she probably doesn't have a lot of money anyway, and let's give him $1. And that is the way I see this trial going. I really do. And now, who won in the end? I mean, did Johnny Depp win because he just spent $2 million to get $1? Is that a win? And that is what this is about. It's about principle. And my warning to you is to not go to legal wars out of principle. That's not the way to navigate the legal waters. The legal waters can be very expensive, very dangerous, and then you get to this jury trial, you never know what a jury's going to do. You just simply don't know what a jury's going to do. It's always a wild card. 6 people, sometimes 12 people there who you don't know. You don't know where they come from. You don't know their backgrounds. Maybe they just don't like you. Maybe they just don't like your lawyer. That is what happens. And going to war legally, which is a trial, is something that can be very dangerous, very expensive, and it's not something I think you should do out of principle. Now, I've tried to coach you up on this a little bit too, because you're kind of when you're mad, you want to sue happy, I would guess, and you need to learn that that's not always the right way to do things, because when you sue someone out of principle, you're going to end up writing big checks for a long time.
But is it worth it? Could be.
Is it?
Could be.
I don't know. Normally, in my opinion, when you're suing out of principle, it is not worth the money it's going to cost you, and just the time and the headaches. And what you don't understand is, once you sue someone, it's not like, oh, I sued them and it's over. I mean, that's when it all really begins. Going from filing a lawsuit to actually going to a jury trial, and then even if you win, the other side's going to appeal, and that's going to add another 1.5 years. We're talking about 3, 4, sometimes 5 years down the road before this case is over with. I mean, suing someone is one heck of a commitment, a financial commitment and a time commitment. And then once you sue them, by the way, they get to ask you all sorts of questions. They get to take your deposition. They're going to ask you for discovery. You're going to have to submit.
You're saying words that no one knows.
Okay,
discovery?
Discovery is the discovery process. So during the discovery process, you've got depositions that they're going to take. They're going to ask.
What's a deposition?
A deposition is where you sit down in a room with the other lawyer and you put your hand up and you say, I promise to tell the truth. And then they can ask you as many questions as they want. I mean, it could go on for days sometimes in a big case like this. And that's not even you testifying at trial. That's testifying through the deposition process. And then at that point, too, they can send you all of these questions called interrogatories, where you have to literally go in and answer all of these questions, and they can get very personal at times also. And then they're going to ask for you to admit certain things, a request for admissions. And then they're also going to ask what's called a request to produce, meaning they're going to ask you for all sorts of documents. It's going to take you hours and hours to put all this stuff together.
Can you say no?
Of course not. I mean, you can object if you think there's something objectionable that they're asking you to produce, but at some point the court's going to make you provide a lot of discovery, a lot of documents. It's incredibly time consuming, but a lot of times there is a better way. And I'm one of the biggest advocates out there when it comes to mediation or arbitration versus actually going to trial. Do you know what a mediation is?
That's when you meet with someone and try to talk.
Kinda, yeah.
And it usually never works, right?
I mean, I'm a huge advocate for mediation. They seem to work like 70-80% of the time for us, and way less expensive than going all the way to a trial. Do you know what an arbitration is?
Nope.
All right, here's what I want to do. Let's take a break, Makaila. When we return, I'm going to try to help you understand how to solve your legal problems through mediation or arbitration versus going to trial, as Behind the Law continues. I have no doubt in my mind the best new product in real estate right now is Home Uplink, and I'm so happy to be joined by their very, very smart founders. I mean, this is a great product. Barrett and Zach are here. So tell me what Home Uplink can do for me. I'm sitting at home right now. I want to buy a house. What does Home Uplink do for me?
So basically what we do is we take all the data every single day and we consolidate it and give open houses to every single person across Florida. So if you're in search for an open house, all you have to do is type in Orlando, you type in Tampa, Miami, and it's going to come up with every single open house for that day only, give you the time, the date. It's going to give you who's hosting the open house, pictures, and how you can get in contact with those people.
There are plenty of websites you can go to where you can find out what houses are for sale. There is only one app, one website you can go to find out where we have open houses, all in one place.
Yeah, and every morning we scour to make sure that the properties that are on there are still live properties, because in today's market, it's hard to find property.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really one of the toughest things.
And it's not just for consumers. This helps real estate agents as well. This is a very good friend of real estate agents.
Yeah, what we want to do is we want to help real estate agents have an online presence for their open houses. Because if they're going to do the work, they should get the benefit.
Yeah, totally agree. You can do yourself a favor. Visit Home Uplink. Download the very convenient app. I'm so proud of you guys. I can't wait to watch this thing totally explode. The best new product in real estate, without a doubt, is Home Uplink.
Talking a little bit today with Makaila about litigation out of principle. You're mad at someone. I'm going to sue them. Caution against that. I always do, because just because you're mad at someone doesn't necessarily mean that suing them is the right way to go. A lawsuit is an expensive thing, a time-consuming thing, and one that you really, it's a business decision for you. You've got to think, okay, if I sue them, am I going to come out ahead or am I going to get further behind? And sometimes this person that you want to sue, just a bad person. You know what I mean? They're a bad person, and you want to sue them to show them out of principle. You want to sue them because they're bad people. Now, the caution is, if you do that, you're actually making yourself in even a worse position than you were before you sued them, and you don't want to do that. Now they've double won against you. I always will tell you, and this is important, okay? If you think it's time to sue someone, you need to sit down with a lawyer such as myself, or a lot of great lawyers we have in Central Florida, and let's go through the pros, the cons. What's it going to cost? How long is it going to take? Can I win? Could I lose? And another big thing you need to figure out is, okay, if I do win or lose, is there a prevailing party attorney fee situation? And what that means, Makaila, is a lot of contracts have something that says if you sue me and you win, I have to pay your attorney's fees. Or if I sue you and I win, you have to pay my attorney's fees. And that can really come into your mental debate as to whether to file suit or not, because attorney's fees can get very expensive. So we could be in a situation where I'm mad at somebody and I want to sue them out of principle. Okay, we had a contract together, and in the contract it says whoever wins has to pay the other party's attorney's fees. Now let's say that the jury doesn't like me and I lose. Not only have I had to pay my own lawyer, not only have I had to spend 3 years of my life dealing with this lawsuit, at the end of the day, I have to pay the other party's attorney's fees as well. So when you're making this decision as to whether to sue someone or not, prevailing party attorney fee is something you really need to watch out for. And not only does it have to be in the contract, there are certain statutes where if you sue someone for certain things, there's a prevailing party attorney fee statute or a clause in the statute. So my best advice always is to sit down with a lawyer and see, does this case make sense? Don't ever do it just out of principle.
Should he meet with like one attorney?
I think that's a really good question. I mean, I love the thought of meeting with 2 to 3 different attorneys, because a lot of attorneys are going to have different advice or a different plan of action, or just simply different recommendations for you. I think 3 attorneys is the way to go. I would always recommend meeting with 3 and then take in all of their advice and what their strategy would be, and then make a good decision. Your decision is going to be go with one of those or not do anything at all, okay? And sometimes not doing anything at all is the right way to go. Sometimes it's not, but don't do it out of principle. That's what I'm telling you. The good thing is there are certain ways that we can avoid going all the way to a trial, okay? And the 2 biggest words that you've probably heard before, but you don't necessarily know what they mean, and people get confused. And it seems second nature to me, because I've been practicing law for 17, 18 years, something like that. But a lot of people don't know the difference between a mediation and an arbitration. Do you?
No.
Okay. And don't feel bad about not, because most people don't know the differences. But these are 2 ways that we can avoid actually going through this entire trial with a jury, or sometimes a trial is decided by a judge, and trying to resolve this case before we get that far, before we spend too much money on it. And let's start with mediation. And I'm the biggest advocate for mediation in the world. So even once you sue somebody, you still can go to a mediation with them. In fact, before a trial, in all likelihood, the judge in the case is going to order the parties to go to mediation. And that's when a mediation no one's making any decision at the mediation, okay? There's not a jury there, there's not a judge. No one is a decider when you go to mediation. What you do is you and your lawyer, the person you're suing and their lawyer, and a neutral third party. Generally speaking, mediators are retired judges or retired lawyers or older lawyers who have been doing it for a while. So we all get in the same room. The plaintiff sits there and they make their arguments. You know, this is why I'm suing, this is the damages. The defendant then makes their arguments and says, this is why we're not paying you anything, this is why we're going to win. And then once that happens, the opening statements, as we call them, we break up into separate rooms, okay? And then the mediator's going to go into my room. Let's say I'm the plaintiff. Mediator's going to come into our room and say, oh, this is why you're going to, they play devil's advocate is what they do. They'll say, well, this is the bad stuff about your case. Now, there's some good stuff here, but this is what could happen if you go all the way through with this thing. And then they go to the defense side and they say, oh, you're going to get hammered at trial. You're going to have to spend all of this money. You should settle. And you go back and forth. And I've had mediations that last 10, 20 hours at times, but it's worth it. Because if nothing else, it brings the parties together, and we at least know how far apart we are. Maybe we can work out some of the issues. And mediation, to me, is always a fantastic way to try to. And once you settle, by the way, if you settle right there, the case is over. The case is over, and you can put that part of your life behind you. And mediation, I think we settle 70 to 80% of all of our cases at mediation. That's a pretty high number if you think about it. And we have great mediators around here who do a really, really good job, and it's inexpensive. Now, mediation is a voluntary thing. So that mediator there that day, they can't decide. They don't have any power to make a decision. They have the power to try to go back and forth and play devil's advocate and get the parties to settle the case. An arbitration is a little bit different. An arbitration, whoever the arbitrator is, has the ability to make the decision. So the arbitrator generally acts as the judge. We see a lot of arbitration clauses in contracts. So especially in real estate, or if you buy a house from a developer, they will, or you have a general contractor do work on your house, a lot of times there will be a clause in the contract that says you have to submit to arbitration. Like, you can't sue me. We have to send this through arbitration, because an arbitration process, it is a little miniature trial, but it's not as expensive or comprehensive as going through the entire legal process and going through a regular trial. So at an arbitration, it's different than mediation. Yeah, all the parties show up, you call witnesses. I mean, it is a little miniature trial, but it's not really taken or done at the courthouse. And at the end of the day, that arbitrator acts as the judge and makes a decision. But it is cheaper and it's faster than going through the entire trial process. And another thing that you really have to think about, and when you're feeling sue happy, it really can depend on what county you're in as well. Because some of the counties here are super backlogged. I will say Orange County, if you're going to go to a jury trial, you got to count on at least 3 years, okay? It's going to be 3 years down the road before you actually get your day in court. I want to get my day in court. You're looking at 3 years down the road. Seminole County, more like a year and a half. The smaller counties typically go a little bit faster than the larger counties, and that's also something that you need to sit down and when you talk to or interview lawyers that you're thinking about hiring, that you need to be cognizant of.
Can you not pick a certain county, or you have to reside there?
So it depends. You can't county shop, so to speak, but it depends on where the plaintiff lives. It depends on where the defendant lives, where the cause of action accrued. So all of those things sort of come together, and the rules of civil procedure dictate where that case should be filed. And sometimes you might file it in your home court. Like maybe Seminole County is my home court, so I want to file the case there, and I have an argument for filing it there. But then whoever I'm suing actually has a right to file a motion to change venue, saying that that's an improper venue, that it should be in another county. And that happens quite a bit. And a lot of lawyers do that because they might be buddies with the judge in this county or whatever. But then the defense always has a right to try to move it if that's not the proper jurisdiction, so to speak. Not trying to use big words.
I know what that word means.
Oh, do you? Go ahead.
No, it's like jurisdiction,
If you have
their area of ruling, what have you, I don't know.
If you have any questions, okay, you're thinking about suing someone, or you're getting sued, I put my phone number on the screen here for you right now, 321-282-1055. I'm there Monday through Saturday. I mean, we're there pretty much every single day. I think I started this firm in late 2007, and I've never charged one consultation fee since 2007. I would do the same thing for you. So what that means, when you come in, you talk to me, spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it takes to really understand your situation, you never have to pay one single penny for that consultation fee. We've also done most of our cases on a flat fee, which is very different from what most lawyers do, meaning that when you come in, we're going to say, this is the cost of the case, pretty much throughout, okay? And flat fees are good for you because legal fees can get very expensive very quickly. We like to do flat fees at the firm. So if you have any questions about any legal issue, I have people standing by right now, okay? 321-282-1055. Okay? Do you know the
Okay.
difference now?
I do.
Mediation, arbitration, and then lastly, and a lot of times the worst for me is trial, okay? Because when you go to trial, we're talking about sometimes you have to do so much work trial prep. It can be $100,000, $200,000 in legal fees alone, and then you have to hire expert witnesses, okay? A lot of times you want to do a mock trial, meaning we're actually going to try the case like in our office with fake jurors to see what we should and shouldn't say. Going to trial can be an incredibly expensive process. And that's why if your lawyer ever says, let's go to mediation, you say yes. That's the way I say it. And then one last piece of advice about mediation. And most people aren't going to tell you this, but I want to be very clear about it. If you ever are in litigation and you go to mediation and you have any interest in settling your case, here's how you're going to feel when you walk out. You're going to feel upset, okay? The only way to settle a case at mediation is if both parties walk away that day not feeling great, okay? Because you're going to go in with, I want all of this money, and you're going to have to settle for a little bit less if you're going to settle at mediation. The person who's writing you a check, you're going to go in thinking, I'm not paying them anything. I'm not giving you a one red cent. But they're going to pay you something. They're going to walk away mad as well. And I hope that the mediator will tell you this as well. But the only way to settle at mediation is to walk away just a little bit unhappy. And mediation's great in all sorts of cases, whether it's a family law case, whether it's an automobile accident case, pretty much any type of case, I would recommend you go to mediation. Okay?
Okay.
And don't just sue out of principle. Makaila.
No, I mean, I don't.
Do you take anything I say today to heart or no?
I do.
Okay.
I
Do you think that-
respectfully disagree
You
with some of
disagree?
it, but
I think Makayla's line is go for the jug, right? Isn't that what you say? Isn't
Yeah.
that your line?
Uh-huh.
She likes to go for the jug.
I do.
It's not always the right call.
No, and I get that, and like
Wow.
you made very valid points, but sometimes you can't reason with.
So will you
People.
at least consider maybe not going for the jug? Give it a few days to resonate before you
I'll
decide
talk
to go
to
for the
three
jug.
people and
Okay.
then make that decision. You know.
Perfect. Makaila, excellent job today. What did we learn today?
Well, I learned that I should consider mediation.
Yes.
Depending on, I don't know, I think it depends on who you're dealing with, what you're dealing with, all that kind of stuff, but good advice.
And you did not like Amber Heard before, you still don't.
I didn't
you liked
say I
Johnny
didn't
Depp
like her.
before, and now you don't or do?
I'm
I forgot.
so indifferent. In my opinion, guess what? It doesn't matter.
Well, I think that I don't think either of them look very good, if you
No.
think about it.
No,
And
I
that's the
think-
problem with filing suit and airing out all of your dirty laundry out of principle. I don't know that either of them.
And the kids should not have to hear that.
I feel like they have the credibility for both of them has deteriorated over the last. And by the way, who has a 7-week trial for defamation? Can you imagine being on that jury?
No. I would go home.
Judge, I'm not feeling so well, right?
Yeah.
I would pull one of those guys. A 7-week trial for defamation played out for the entire world to see. I don't
Not
like
fun.
it.
No.
I
No,
think,
thank you.
I think they both look bad. My prediction: Johnny Depp wins $1, maybe $100. That's it. All out of principle. Congratulations to him, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
Makaila, as always, excellent job today.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
And thank you, as always, for joining us. I love spending our Saturdays here with you. We'll see you again next week for more Behind the Law. Having debt can leave you feeling helpless. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Filing for bankruptcy may give you the power to lower or even eliminate the payments that have you living paycheck to paycheck. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your life. Having debt can leave you feeling helpless. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Filing for bankruptcy may give you the power to lower or even eliminate the payments that have you living paycheck to paycheck. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your life. So happy to be joined by Andrew Brainerd. He is with Transmedicare. Thank you what you guys are doing for the senior citizens of Central Florida. It's really a great, comfortable trip, anywhere more than 300 miles, whenever they need to be transported or moved somewhere, instead of having to lug the oxygen tank on an airplane or something, you are giving them an unbelievably comfortable ride wherever they need to go.
Exactly. Instead of renting a RV or throwing them in a minivan and driving them from Florida to New York, we're putting them in a very comfortable bed. They have a 6-inch memory foam mattress that we custom made for our stretchers because it's easier to move patients on the stretcher. We also have the ability for up to 2 family members to ride with. It doesn't happen very often, but some people feel comfortable bringing their pets, and we definitely encourage that.
And some of the best staff in the business as well, and you're always looking for new employees.
Always looking for new contractors to fill either the driving position or the CNA RN positions. They can always find additional information on our website, which is trans-medcare.com. They can submit their resumes to careers@trans-medcare.com or just call the office, which is 888-984-3722.
And a lot of these are longer trips, maybe back to Boston, back to Chicago, back to New York. Tell me about the experience. I know you have the really comfortable beds for our patients, but what's the rest of the experience like?
When you're on board, you're going to have access to Wi-Fi. You can sign into your own entertainment. So if you have a Netflix account, we already provide it on board, but if you have your own, you can sign in and just continue watching Golden Girls if that's what you're into. Just continue life as if you were in your bed at your home. Because what we want to provide is the most comfortable bedside-to-bedside service that exists.
And a lot of the calls you're going to get are probably from children or grandchildren, and
Children,
you're giving them the comfortability of knowing that mom or dad or grandma or grandpa are going to be well taken care of. Andrew, keep up the good work, man.
Appreciate it.
I love what you guys are doing over there. Transmedcare. If you have a family member who needs to be transported anywhere more than 300 miles, this is your guy. Here with my good buddy Carter Burks with Carter Water at a house doing a full house install. Now, we're not in my house, but I do have this system in my house, and I love it. Thank you to Carter Water for what you guys have done for me.
Absolutely.
Not only am I saving money every day, because we're not buying bottled water anymore, Carter, the shower feels totally different now. Why is that?
Well, because you don't have any hardness in your water anymore, Justin. Calcium, magnesium's gone, the chlorine's gone as well. So all you have is good, clean water.
And the cost. I paid $0 up front and literally the cost of a couple of bottles of water per month, and it's amazing. And again, think about all the bottles of water I'm not drinking and my family's not drinking. I mean, we're saving hundreds and hundreds of dollars per month, all while having much better water. Why is the Florida water so bad?
Well, because we come from the Florida aquifer. The aquifer is polluted. It's full of everything we do up here gets down there. Then the city has to hit it with so many chemicals to make it safe to come out to you.
Right. And you know, we have families. I have a family. I feel so much better now that my family's protected from that bad water. I think what people don't understand is when you're bathing, when you're showering in the Florida water, that's also not good for your health.
It's not, because your skin will soak it up. You just don't drink it, you consume it through your body as well.
And what kind of process is that? Is this a several-day deal? You're going to have to uproot the family, or is this fairly simple?
There's no backhoes or bulldozers involved, I guarantee it. Because our patented technology with NASA and the EPA, it provides good, clean water throughout every single faucet in your home. So whether it's here in the kitchen, in the bathroom, you always are protected with good, clean water.
So when you leave this house today, this family is going to be able to turn that on and drink fresh, clean, healthy water. Is that what you're telling me?
That's it right there.
$0 down, payment plans. You're going to pay so little per month. Do yourself a favor. Call my man Carter Burks with Carter Water today. You will absolutely not regret that decision.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.